It's 4:30 p.m. here in Seoul. I'm Devin Whiting at the Arirang News Center, and we're breaking into our regular programming to bring you the second briefing of the day from the South Korean health authorities. We'll be getting updates on the numbers as well as the measures being taken across the country now. Let's listen in. When it starts, we'll go straight to it. But we do know that more than 300 cases were reported today in Korea. And so the government has expanded the stricter social distancing guidelines to level 2 from the Seoul area down to the rest of the country effective today. Those measures were first put in place this past week on a limited basis, but because of the rapidly increasing cases, they've been expanded and to all major cities and provinces. These are mostly linked to the Sarang Jae Church in northern Seoul and a political rally held in downtown Seoul last weekend. As of Sunday morning, there were 397 new confirmed cases, and this brings the total caseload to 17,399. There were no additional deaths reported, so the death toll remains at 309. The number of COVID-19 cases worldwide has risen to more than 23 million, and the death toll to more than 800,000. The U.S. still has by far the highest number of both. As of Sunday, it's reported over 5.5 million cases with more than 170,000 deaths. The number of cases per day, however, has remained below 50,000 for a week straight. Now let's go to the briefing from the South Korean health authorities and take a listen.
It is August 23rd, and I'll start the briefing for today. As of midnight, today there were 387 newly confirmed cases, and this is almost close to 400. Of these, for the metropolitan city, the number is amounting to 294, which is a very big portion. But other regions are also suffering from a resurgence as the number is close to 100. So we see the spreading across the country. And when we look at the trend that happened over the past week, we see that there is a high risk of infection. Over the past week, in Korea, on a daily level, there were 268 newly confirmed cases, and for the ratio of unknown causes, it was nearing 20% as well. Within the disease control measure, also the number is lowered to be below than 80%, so this is a high-risk situation. And this resurgence is becoming official not only in the metropolitan area but in other regions as well, so this is an urgent time point. The social distancing has been strengthened to level 2, and we believe that this effect will start showing up this week, which has a week after the elevation. However, if we are unable to stabilize the newly confirmed case, then we will have to elevate the level further to level 3 social distancing. And this shows that how urgent the case is. And for level 3, this means a stop in all of the daily lives. And this can have a fatal effect on the daily lives of all of our citizens and economic activities as well. Right now, the spread is focused around the metropolitan area, and in order to contain this, we have to make sure that all of our citizens participate and take caution. I will now update you on the cases related to Sarang Jae Church in Seoul. In order to obtain additional visitor record, we have actually went through a search of the church, and we have taken a look at everything, and we have secured a list of all of the people who have eaten there and who have visited there. And there are some people who are refusing to receive contacts, and there are some unknown identities as well. And for those, we are actually asking the police office for cooperation so that we can continuously identify the visitors who have visited the church. And for the political rally on August 15th, we have confirmed 130 newly confirmed cases in total. So the government is asking those people who have actually participated in those political rallies, and we have provided guidelines through text messages and phone calls to around 50,000 people who have participated there. So for those participants, we ask you to visit the screening centers as soon as possible so that we can contain and curb further spread of COVID-19. Right now, this is an emergency situation, and as such, we ask all of the citizens to cooperate with the disease control measures of CDC. So if you were to not comply with these measures, or if you were to hinder it, then we will be taking non-tolerant measures to penalize you, and we will also be asking for compensation as well. So this is directly related to our lives and our safety, and this measure is being taken so that we can actually protect it. So that is why we ask our citizens to cooperation once more. And in preparation for a surge in patients, the government is also making efforts to come up with a stable treatment system, such as securing more hospital beds. And an emergency task force has been established in the metropolitan area, and they are allocating hospital beds depending on the severity of patients. And 84% of our patients have shown to have light symptoms until now. As of 8 p.m. yesterday, there were 650 hospital beds secured, and we also have secured additional 70 hospital beds for those who are severely ill. And we are continuously expanding the number of hospital beds to be used in metropolitan areas. Right now, into the life treatment centers, 400 people can enter. Until the end of this week, we're going to expand this to 2 more life treatment centers. And for the maximum number of entries, we're going to increase it from 1,500 to 3,000 as soon as possible. So we thank the local governments and institutions and other relevant areas for participating and cooperating with us in securing more life treatment centers. With the elevation of social distancing measure to level 2 starting today, we're going to have a limitation of events to be less than 50 people if you're indoors and 100 if you're outdoors. And this is also the same for weddings as well. And actually, wedding hall staff members will be excluded from this number. And for halls and reception areas, if they are separated, we are not going to allow direct contact. And also, we do not recommend you to have a separate area prepared to have the whole event. Right now, it is very risky to have an event where a lot of people are participating. So if for weddings, we ask you to delay it. And if it is inevitable, we want to ask you to have it in a small group. Next, I will update you on the group areas. So in such an urgent situation, for the safety and lives of our citizens, the government is going to strive hard to prioritize the containment of COVID-19. And for medical schools, the government is not raising any conditions for now so that we can curb COVID-19 first. And the announcement has been made already. And for doctors as well, we have also asked the doctors to return to the diagnosis sites so that they can strive hard to save the lives of our citizens. It is a very severe situation right now. And in such a situation, a group strike could put people's lives at risk. And among COVID-19, there has been an increase in the ratio of those who are severely ill. And if doctors are going on strike, then this can lead to a limitation in the number of people who are being treated, and this can lead to an even more severe situation. And in any situation, a strike can actually harm the lives of our citizens. So we have to make sure that we prioritize the lives and safety of our citizens. And we want to ask you to remember that the government and doctors should work together. And we have to make sure that we have a recognition that COVID-19 is a severe emergency situation. So we want to ask you once again to return to your workplaces. Right now, the situation is urgent not only in the metropolitan area but in other regions as well, and anyone can be infected with COVID-19, regardless of the regions. And as said before, we are not sure whether or not COVID-19 can be curbed in a short amount of time. And the next wheel will be a very critical time point for us to determine that. So we have to remember once again what has happened with the Daegu situation at the beginning of the year, and we have to take caution as we have done so in the past. So for our citizens, unless you really have to go out, please refrain from going outside and stay at home. And even if you do have to go outside, please make sure to keep your face mask on, whether you're indoors or outdoors. And also, please refrain from visiting closed and confined spaces that are crowded. And we understand that your tiredness is growing and that you may be losing tension. However, right now, this is an urgent situation. I want to emphasize that once again. And we really and desperately need your cooperation. The government will also take even more caution, and we're going to prepare thoroughly to treat patients. Thank you.
That'll conclude our coverage of this briefing. Thank you for watching. Arirang News will be back at 6 o'clock p.m. Korea time.
Damage from record-breaking torrential rains is snowballing across the nation. Some dozens of casualties have been reported and thousands have been displaced.